Good morning, everyone. I listened to a speech the other day, and try as I might, there is a segment from this speech that I just cannot get out of my head. Elie Wiesel said, "What is indifference?" Etymologically, the word means no difference, a strange and unnatural state in which the lines blur between light and darkness, dusk and dawn, crime and punishment, cruelty and compassion, good and evil. These words rang so true to me, and I know now that he chose these words in this order for that very reason. Because even though I listened to this speech 3 days ago, the words have been resonating in my mind ever since. The speech that this is from is called The Perils of Indifference. Elie wrote this speech after the Holocaust, during which he was a prisoner. His goal was to remind the people of America and those in government what happens when we as a whole become indifferent. Let's talk about the obvious things that worked in this speech, things that I noticed the first time listening. Elie is standing at a podium. On one side is the president, Bill Clinton, and on the other is the First Lady, Hillary Clinton. Despite the fact that he is speaking in front of a prestigious crowd, including senators, members of the Congress, and the First Family, he never appears to be nervous. Elie never moves from his podium and honestly doesn't do a lot of moving at all. He makes small gestures with his hands, but for the most part, he stands still. His speech has a very somber tone, so this, in my opinion, was fitting. His tone of voice matched the speech perfectly. He was serious, but not to the point where you couldn't tell that the speech was an emotional moment in time for him. He also made great use of long and meaningful pauses, and it really allowed me time to process the information that he was saying as a listener. His speech was rather lengthy, a little over 7 minutes, but I never even began to lose interest. His speech was so well written and presented that even though he was reading from a scripted version, I wasn't bothered by it at all. Reading from a script isn't uncommon, especially in a formal setting, and Elie even managed to incorporate a great deal of eye contact. Elie used specific tools to make his speech stand out from others. Elie's main focus of his speech is to remind people to not be indifferent to all the horrible things that are going on around them. He repeatedly references how people are indifferent to the Holocaust and how he and many others suffered as a direct result. He also brings up other horrible things that were relevant at the time, ranging from recent assassinations to children starving in the projects. Elie used the word indifferent 15 times in this speech, according to the text version that's available on AmericanRhetoric.com. Elie also makes great use of rhetorical questions at the end of his speech. While he uses them throughout the speech, there's a whole paragraph at the end that is just packed full of rhetorical questions. Being that it was this close to the end, it gave his listeners food for thought for when the speech was over. Elie also mentions God in his speech, 6 times in one paragraph to be precise. This is something that appeals to the hearts of many Americans, especially in their time of need. By doing this, he really targeted who his audience was. Many influential people have done this. For example, every president has mentioned God during their inaugural speeches, according to Newsmax.com, and President Obama mentioned him 5 times. Elie's speech touched the hearts of many and will continue to hold that place because of how well it was written and how well it was presented. Moving forward in this class, when you write and give your own speeches, I hope that you can all channel your inner Elie Wiesel. May you have the emotions of a survivor, the worldly grace of an author, the skills of a student, and the courage to speak up.